Welcome to the MGM Resorts NBA Summer League 2018 from Thomas & Mack Center in Las Vegas, getting set for the three-seeded Phoenix Suns, 3-0 so far, taking on the Philadelphia 76ers, who are 0-3 here at the Summer League. But hey, one win, they can get themselves into round two. But for the Phoenix Suns, they've got 8 guys that are rookies on their Summer League team, and that includes DeAndre Ayton, the #1 overall pick in the draft.
And he's been impressive. You know, at times he hasn't gotten the ball the way he probably wants, but in that performance against Mo Bamba, he was clearly the best player on the floor. He's got it all. He's got the size, the skill level. He's got the want to. The question about his motor in high school has been eliminated. He plays the game hard, and this kid's got a bright future.
Well, there you see the numbers of what he's been able to do. And DeAndre Ayton, chance to speak with George Sedano.
George Sedano here with DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre, back-to-back double-doubles for you. You went up against Mo Bamba last game. What was that like for you?
I was just trying to win, to be honest. Do anything I can to win the game. To put my team in a good position to win the game. And just, we're both competitors. We've been competing against each other for quite a while now. And, the best team won that game.
And then in that game, turnovers were high for you in that particular game. What are some of the other things you think you need to work on at this point?
Yeah, most definitely taking care of the ball and just being more vocal on the court, especially on the defensive end, communicating to my teammates.
And today's game, what is the goal for today's game?
Most definitely defense. Just really knowing what we do on defense and really knowing the plays and executing.
DeAndre, thank you so much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
All right, George, DeAndre Ayton averaging 16 points and 11 rebounds so far. Josh Jackson is going to rest today. Mikal Bridges, who was drafted by Philly, and there's his numbers so far in the Summer League with Phoenix.
Yes, and he's going to be part of a question for his entire career. Was the trade made to send him to the Suns? Did they get the better of the deal because Zaire Smith went east? And the Suns also got a first-round pick out of it. So a lot of time left to see how that trade goes. But Mikal Bridges goes to the desert, where they have a bright future with a terrific young coach.
And with Philadelphia, for a team that lost to Boston in the second round, Zaire Smith coming in as a rookie. There, the numbers, only 35% shooting from the field, kind of stands out.
Yeah, he's definitely a work in progress. This kid was a high school center 2 years ago. No one expected him to go to Texas Tech and end up in the lottery or right on the edge of the lottery. So a lot of potential here. We talked about the Knicks. Does he not look like a John Starks clone? And he actually jumps like John. Now he's got a shooter like John.
That's right. He's got that little mustache that kind of accentuates it as we get to our starting lineups for the 76ers. Zaire Smith with Demetrius Jackson. Furkan Korkmaz had himself an opener with 40 points. Unfortunately, he's only had 5 points since. Davon Reed will get the start. Dragan Bender as well with Ayton and Bridges. Shaquille Harrison will be the point guard here to start. And as we said, if you're just joining us, Josh Jackson, who's been averaging 10 points per game so far, just resting today as the 3-0 and 3-seeded Phoenix Suns looking to advance here in the knockout round. Here's a look at Josh Jackson on the bench. We had the game when he took the elbow to the side of the head. You see the Band-Aid from Marvin Bagley Jr.
Well, this Suns team is so young that it's not going to surprise me if all 5 of these guys at some point are in their rotation during the season.
Jackson missing the first shot of the game. Long rebound. Harrison will lead the break for a Phoenix team that lost 61 times in the regular season, but a lot of promise with Ayton and with Jackson and with Bridges added to that team. And of course, Devin Booker got the big extension. Davon Reed's had himself a nice Summer League as well as they work it to Ayton. Had to be pushed all the way out by Jonah Bolden. 1 to shoot. Steps 1 step farther and misses the shot.
Jonah Bolden has played the last couple of years in Europe, and he's really filled out since his 1 year at UCLA.
It's been kind of a up and down mixed bag for Bolden, who really is hoping to stick with Philadelphia. As a foul is called against Phoenix here, it'll go Philly's way. Bolden really came here to Las Vegas thinking and hoping that he will be part of this roster somehow, some way.
He's a stretch 4 man. He's from Australia, where his head coach, Brett Brown, is also from. And his dad and Brett Brown were competitors, and Certainly this kid wants to stay because he's played the last 2 years in Europe, and the idea is for the Sixers to keep him here.
Showing a little bit of handle, attempting, ball out of bounds. And it will go to Phoenix. Bolden won an Israeli league title with Maccabi Tel Aviv. Has a 3-year deal, but he does have an opt-out. That's if he can get to Philly.
But you notice he was not intimidated on that first possession by the Suns, guarding DeAndre Ayton.
And that's in direct relation to all the guys he's got to defend overseas. Got a hand in the face of Ayton and did a nice job disrupting. Furkan Korkmaz, the ball handler, puts it high off the window, can't get it to fall. Korkmaz 1 for his last 19 in the last 2 Summer League games, including that missed shot here to start this one. And he was about as hot as anyone. In fact, he's had the highest scoring Summer League game here in Vegas. Bender, they're waiting to see that from him in Phoenix.
They sure are, and he's got an opportunity with the new coaching staff, especially with the reputation they have of developing players.
Bolden trying to show up the offensive end, missing the shot. He struggled with his shot here in Vegas. Shooting 16% from three-point land.
Now you got to keep in mind that Bolden played a long season, and so the Sixers know what he can do, and they know whether that shot's going to come around. But he played a lot of games in Israel this year.
Kevin Young calling an early timeout, the Summer League coach for the 76ers. Be back to Vegas in a moment. Slow start here to our second first-round game at Thomas & Mack Center between the Suns, who are 3-0, and the Philadelphia 76ers looking for their first Summer League win. 2-0 game. Jonah Bolden had it poked away, but Philly keeps it in possession. Korkmaz sending it out to Jackson. And look at Zhaire Smith. High riser hits, and he's fouled, and he'll go to the line, and one of his new teammates is joining us right now. Ben Simmons, the Rookie of the Year in the NBA. First of all, congratulations on your Rookie of the Year award. Philadelphia 76ers joining us here. Just going to start you with Zhaire Smith. We might as well, as he hit that shot. I saw you out there shaking everybody's hand before the start. What have you liked so far from your club?
I think the type of team we have now, we like to play together as a team and move the ball, and I think everybody knows that coming into the Sixers, organization and team, that's how we play. And I think, if you have guys like that coming in and contributing like that, sky's the limit.
The way your season ended, getting into the playoffs, what's the vibe at the practice facility and with the guys that are coming back?
We're excited. We know what pieces we have. We know what we need, and I think we have everything we need, honestly. It's just going to take time. And we got to play through things to learn and experience.
How big was J.J. Redick, obviously, for what he did for you last year with his shooting and his maturity in the league, bringing him back? How important a piece was that for you guys?
As a leader, he's huge, and obviously offensively, and him being on the floor was huge help for me. I was able to find guys and whatever it was, and learn to play with shooters and learn where they want the ball. So having him back is going to be amazing.
A year ago, Ben, you were out here on this court after sitting out your first year. What do you know now about playing in this league that you didn't know at the start of Summer League last summer?
I think you just gotta go out and play your game, not force too many things, and just play as a team. I think that's the most important thing. Guys forget that. Guys are coming here to play and get contracts, but at the same time, you got to play the right way.
We talked a lot about guys who come in with some injury. You had that redshirt year before Rookie of the Year. Speak to us about just how important that is. You can't even describe to have a whole year practicing with a team, learning systems. How important was that for you?
I think the year I had when I was out was very frustrating, but it also helped me mentally. It helped me mature a lot quicker, I think, as a professional. So I think overall, having that time was great.
What's your training routine since the season ended? Just take us what you've been doing.
So I took a little break, and then I got back in the gym and started lifting. That was the first thing I did, and then got back in the gym with my trainer, and we've just been working every day.
I've seen Markelle Fultz. He's here in Vegas. Obviously, he's he's not participating in the summer league. But from what you saw, and there he is checking out the game tonight. From what you've seen from him late last season when he came on, what's the limit for him right now? What do you want to see him working on?
I think skill-wise, people don't really understand how good he is and how gifted he is athletically. His shot is going to come. He can shoot the ball. Everybody knows that. So he's just been working, obviously, this summer. And I've seen him. He's been in the gym working. So it's one of those things where you see guys working and you know what they're capable of. And especially with him, it's a scary sight.
How do you assess the Eastern Conference?
Yeah.
We know some guy went out to L.A., but there's still some good teams. We've been talking about it. How do you size up the Eastern side?
He's still got Toronto, Heat, Boston, so you have good teams in the East. And I think people forget that the Celtics are a really good team. They're well coached and they have a lot of experience, especially with Kyrie and Gordon. They're a great team. So the East is still strong. I think people forget. It's still the NBA. It's still professionals.
Jonah Bolden with the block and a return block by the Phoenix Suns here as action going end to end. Kel Bridges, who was your teammate for about 36 minutes, just hit a three-pointer right there.
And by the way, he looked over at the Sixer bench, because
that's what you're missing.
He had
right?
that hat on, Ben, for about 30 minutes.
Right. But you get Zaire Smith, and when you look at your lineup and how it shakes out, if Brett matches you two together, cross-matching his defense as well, guarding opposing guards, how big and important could that be for the 76ers
it
next
could
year?
be huge. I'm just looking forward to getting on the floor and learning everyone's game and just ready to take it over and really lead the team.
We love Joel Embiid. Great player, great story, comeback from injuries, but a character as well. What's it like being alongside him? Month after month during the year.
It's great. Off the court, he's so much fun. Then, obviously on the court, he's a competitor. He loves to compete at the highest level, obviously. And for me, it makes it easy just to go on the floor. And, we have that chemistry where we can just, play.
We saw him eating the cheeseburger famously on TV as he was getting stretched out about an hour before the game. Any good stories you could share with us behind the scenes maybe we don't get to see?
Probably not. Probably not.
Is he your social media manager?
No, definitely not.
What's Dario Saric doing this summer?
I have no idea, but I know he's a huge part of the team.
Yeah.
And I probably need to get out to Europe somehow, some way.
Croatian coast. Did he tell you about the beaches?
He did. He definitely told me to go out there.
And it's an underrated part of the world, right across from Italy in the Adriatic. Now you get a chance to play for Brett Brown as you have, and we've known him for a long time before he got to Philly, coming from the Greg Popovich tree. Him and his assistants, what does that bring to you on a daily basis, week-to-week basis that has helped improve your game?
I think just being able to go in and talk to him whenever I need to and having that connection with him. Obviously, he coached my dad when my dad played professionally, so just having that connection has made it a lot easier for me to transition, coming in and being the point guard.
Loose ball foul. It will go to Philadelphia, and that's true. You bring that up, and I'd forgotten. I don't know how, but just to go all the way back to Brett Brown, your dad, coming to a situation that felt comfortable. You grew up in Australia, and he coached there for so long, and it must have made the process so much easier coming.
Definitely. I felt comfortable just going there, knowing I had good people around me and great coaches. So it honestly made it just easy for me to play.
And Jonah Bolden's out here, and I understand his dad and your dad had some pretty good battles back
against each other.
Back in the day.
That's also another cool thing. Having Jonah there, and he's been playing well. So I'm looking forward to the season coming up.
Get any good Vegemite in Philly?
Definitely not.
Thanks a lot, Ben. We appreciate you coming by.
See you, Ben.
Rookie of the year in the NBA, joining us for a few minutes. We appreciate that. We'll let him go and watch the rest of the Summer League 76ers. Skia Booker, a little too high for Cam Oliver. I forgot to ask him about Cam Oliver. I let him go about 30 seconds too early. It's another story to keep an eye on with the 76ers as Davon Reed scores and gets fouled. Another chance at a three-point play. 2:41 to go here in our first quarter. Timeout from Vegas.
Coverage of MGM Resorts NBA Summer League 2018 is brought to you by Infiniti. Empower the drive. and KFC's new Crispy Kernel Sandwich. Try today in a $5 fill-up. It's extra crispy good.
Phoenix Suns on a 9-0 run. There's Brett Brown next to Markelle Fultz. We just talked to Ben Simmons. 76ers trailing the Suns 16-10. DeAndre Ayton only a couple of points here in the first half, but the man going to the free throw line, Davon Reed, a perfect 3 for 3, 7 points and a free throw coming.
You know, Brett Brown said recently that he thinks Markelle is going to have a great season. And I have a feeling that's the case. And people forget this. He was the #1 pick in the draft.
Yep.
And so they won last year really without any contribution from Markelle Fultz. If he gets back to playing the way he can play, especially with that triple-double at the end of the regular season, you just added a young rising star to that mix.
George Sedano, you were there in Philadelphia, certainly in their draft room, and you've been around the 76ers. I mean, they've been using these red shirts, if you will, and Fultz is just the latest up between Embiid and Simmons.
Yeah, no one's done it better, right, Kesty? I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. But, you know, Brett Brown has had a lot on his plate recently. That night he was running the draft, and obviously he's the head coach. The question is, for how much longer will he be running the show as far as the personnel is concerned? Keith Pompey of the Philadelphia Inquirer, one of the Sixers beat writers, had a report that R.C. Buford was in consideration potentially, and obviously Brett and R.C. have a relationship from their San Antonio days. It would be interesting to see if R.C. goes there. Now, R.C. did respond to that, and he said that about being targeted as the potential GM for the Sixers. He said he was just hanging out, taking in a half of basketball with his buddy Brett Brown, and nothing to see here.
Brett Brown was with the San Antonio folks for a long time down in San Antonio. So Brett Brown, the head coach, and the acting president of basketball operations.
You know who Brett Brown's college coach was?
I think I know. Can I take a guess?
Sure.
Pitino? Rick Pitino?
Rick Pitino at
BU?
Boston University. Absolutely. Brett's dad, Bob, was a great high school coach in Maine and was an assistant at BU. And Brett, after his Boston U days, played down under in Australia and later became a coach. And obviously the rest is history.
And was Kyrie Irving's father on that BU team in the late 70s?
I don't think he played
for Pitino. Might have been the year
Rick.
before.
Yeah. I don't think he played. Glenn Consor, who you may know from the Washington Wizards.
Sure.
Glenn does TV for the Washington Wizards with Kara Lawson. He played at Boston U as well with Brett. But I remember when Brett played. Scrappy little point guard from Maine.
Still got the accent. Love that accent from Brett Brown.
He's got that cross between the Aussie and the and the Maine.
And the Maine.
Yeah.
20-11, Phoenix the lead here. Chris McCullough, one-time first-round draft pick of the Brooklyn Nets handling. We've got Norbertus Giga, 7-footer from Jacksonville State on the floor as well, but it's Askia Booker. A couple of years in the G League, a deep 2.
Yeah, Jacksonville State, that is not Jacksonville, Florida. That is Jacksonville, Alabama.
For Giga, who is from Lithuania. I know we've done enough FIBA games where you've told me Lithuania, Slovenia.
You know, I could still throw, you remember this? Ready for this? Kuzminskas, Kalnietis, Mačiulis.
For right? Lithuania, oh, absolutely.
Jankunas.
But the population to NBA players to the skill level is remarkable for many of those countries as McCullough hits the three-pointer there for Philly.
Well, how about the coach of the Phoenix Suns? He took Slovenia to the European Championship a year ago, and Slovenia has 2 million people.
Igor Kokoshkov is the head coach, not only of the Phoenix Suns, gets set for his first year at the big team, but also is the Summer League head coach. There's a look at Igor.
And you see that a lot. And he's got a lot of head coaching experience. He was the head coach of the Georgia national team. He's been an assistant coach since 2000. He's the first coach in the NBA born outside of North America. But you got to remember something. This guy's been in the NBA 18 years, so it's not like he just showed up. And he's an American citizen, and he's got a great family, and he did a great job last season for Quinn Snyder.
Grew up in Belgrade, has been a coach since the age of 24. Ball knocked out of bounds. Igor Kokoshkov, 19-year assistant, as you mentioned. Last 3 years with the Utah Jazz, part of that 17-year run in that Eurobasket championship with Slovenia.
Had 2 good players.
That was headlines.
Yep, he had 2 good players.
Goran Dragic and a young man named
Luka Doncic.
But the horn nearly went. Phoenix Suns have a 4-point lead over the 76ers as Kokoshkov and Shaquille Harrison talk it over here in the break after one.
The Philadelphia 76ers select Mikal Bridges. The Philadelphia 76ers trade Mikal Bridges to the Phoenix Suns.
It's crazy. I just didn't know, but I'm excited. I'm happy to be here.
There you go, Mikal Bridges, Philadelphia native, drafted by the 76ers, and then about, I think it was 38 minutes later, was acquired by the Phoenix Suns. And the man who was part of that trade and engineered it, Ryan McDonough, the general manager of the Phoenix Suns, joining us here now courtside as we watch his Summer League Suns and George King get rejected by Cameron Oliver. How did that all go down, the Mikal Bridges and the draft pick and the trade with Philadelphia?
Yeah, it was a very unique deal, Mark. We were trying to trade up to get into the top 10. We had the 16th pick in the draft from Miami. And, we liked the group of players in the late lottery considerably better than the guys we were looking at 16. So we were chasing picks in the late lottery. We had numerous conversations with Philadelphia. And then when Mikal Bridges was on the board at 10, we called back, said, do we have a deal? They said, no, we're keeping the pick and we're taking Bridges. And then we said, okay, that's who we wanted. That's who we were trying to get. So if anything changes, we're coming back again at 16. Let us know. And I think what happened was when Zaire Smith was on the board at 16, that was a guy they were very high on. They picked up an additional first-round pick from us, and that's how the deal got done.
I told Mark during the broadcast, to me it sounds like a trade that seems like it could benefit both teams. It's probably how you want to do business in the league, right? Yeah,
that's the goal, Fran, and that's how deals get done. Obviously, they have to make sense for both sides. For us, we needed more perimeter defense. We needed more shooting, especially with DeAndre coming in. We wanted to create as much space for him down low to operate as possible, and we feel like we have one of the elite perimeter shooters, elite perimeter players in the game in Devin Booker, but we thought Bridges would be a perfect fit with our young core. And then Philly, obviously I heard Zaire had a very good workout there. He's an elite athlete, obviously a different player, different stage in his progression than Mikal, but he's a tremendous athlete, as you know better than anybody watching him in the Big 12.
We have the microscope here at Summer League has certainly turned up, a few magnifications for some of the stars. What's your read as the general manager on DeAndre Ayton through 3.5 Summer League games?
He's played well. He's rebounded the ball very well, and that's no surprise to anybody who watched him in college. He's got unique physical gifts. I think one of the things we can do better as a team is get him the ball, when he seals or for those lobs. I feel like we've missed him some throughout the tournament. And, obviously I think that'll change when you bring in a Devin Booker or Brandon Knight or some more experienced guards. But we've been very happy with his play overall, especially on the defensive end. I think the offense will come, as you guys see with Igor's system. There's a lot of ball movement, a lot of player movement, and that timing, I think, takes some time, but defensively he's fit right in and anchored a pretty good defense here in Vegas.
It wouldn't have mattered that you guys are close to Tucson because you would have seen him no matter where he was, but what was it other than this, this size and athleticism that you've seen from him either in his freshman year in Arizona or just being around him most recently that gives you even more excitement than just the physical attributes?
His mind, Fran, he's got a good feel for the game, and I think for me where that stands out is his passing ability. When he's doubled in the post, as a lot of young big guys tend to get sped up. They go too fast. They try to force. He's very patient and maybe almost too unselfish at this point as far as when the double comes. He's immediately looking to find shooters and guys in the perimeter. And so, we watched him closely. We watched him practice. I think we're at, probably more of his games than anybody. You see the size and the length and athleticism, but the feel and the touch is what we think and hope will make him special.
You had mentioned Brandon Knight's name as we look at the point guard and how we move this forward a couple of months and you get set for training camp. First on Brandon, how's the recovery from the ACL?
He's doing very well, and he really made a good impression on us. Before we came to Las Vegas, he flew to Phoenix from his home in South Florida and practiced with our Summer League team that entire week. And I think we had 6 practice sessions in 4 days. A couple were double sessions, and Brandon was out there with the young guys, leading them, learning Igor's offense, and building that bond with his teammates. So he's fully cleared to go 5-on-5, and we think and hope he'll even be in better shape when training camp gets started.
A lot of us who love basketball like we do, we know Igor. We know about his background, his reputation, NBA, of course, overseas. But what was it about him that impressed you? What was the deciding factor?
I think he's a brilliant basketball mind, Fran, and anybody who's been around Igor says that about him. But he also has the ability to connect with people, with players in different ways. Not just American players, European players, but everybody who's played for Igor. He's been an assistant since 2000 in the league. It raves about him and his ability to not only coach as a head coach, but develop players and help players get better under his tutelage. And I think people made a big deal of him being the first European-born American coach. We really didn't view it that way. That really wasn't a consideration for us at all. Again, given that he's been in the league since 2000. But I think where he grew on us as a viable head coaching candidate in the NBA was what he did with that Slovenian team last year. And anybody who watched them play, I think, had to be impressed with their ball movement, their player movement, their execution, and just how hard and how well that team played.
Ryan McDonough with us here, talking about Igor Kokoškov. As we look down your roster a little bit more, a couple years ago, Dragan Bender was a very high draft pick. I thought after a quiet start, he actually has played pretty well in his last game. Can you hang through the timeout for just a moment? All right. Yeah. Ryan McDonough will stay with us. Timeout here in Las Vegas. We'll talk some more Phoenix Suns basketball next. Reminder coming up next, 8:30 Eastern Time, Clippers and the Lakers, then the Hawks and the Trailblazers. This will be the second-round games, 2 second-round games in the knockout phase here in Las Vegas coming up on ESPN2, and all the games streaming live on the ESPN app, so you can watch them anywhere. Mark Estisher, Fran Frasillo, George Sedano, and Ryan McDonough, the general manager of the Phoenix Suns, gracious to stay a little bit longer. I wanted to ask you about Dragan, in that after a couple of quiet games, hit some three-pointers for you. What are you looking for him now as he gets set for this next season?
Well, just continuing his progression, Mark. I thought, his rookie year, he was 18 years old. And as Fran knows, if he were an American player, he would have been a high school senior that year, given when his birthday is in mid-November. So we looked at that as a developmental year. Last year, in year 2, I thought he improved as a spot-up shooter. I think he shot 37% from 3 and close to 80 from the line. So he progressed in those areas. I think the next step for Dragan will be putting it all together. I think at 7'1", you see the tools he has, you see the stroke, you see the feel. He's gotten stronger. But with him, I think it's mainly confidence-based. When he's confident and aggressive, he's a pretty effective player at both ends, especially offensively. And when he's not, he struggles some.
Irregardless of the fact that you've got a terrific new coaching staff, just tell people why, with a young team, player development is so critical in the NBA.
Fran, these guys come out younger and younger every year at 19 or even 18 years old. And the guys who play 3 or 4 years in college, like Mikal Bridges, I think they get a different level of development, a different level of attention. But during the NBA season, as you guys know, the games come very quickly, and you don't have a lot of time to work on your own. So the more we can structure it, the more we can script it in the off season, but also in season, and put them in positions to be effective for what they're going to do on an NBA court, the better. And for us, we do a lot of that with our NBA staff. We also do it with our G League staff in Prescott Valley with the Northern Arizona Suns, where we try to mirror what we're doing at the NBA level. So if we do assign a player to the G League, the offensive and defensive terminology is the same, and they're running the same sets. So when we bring them back to the NBA, they can be effective on an NBA court.
Do you have any kind of advantage, could I call it, with 8? You have 8 rookies here, but 7 guys that might be on your roster. Is there an advantage to see them blending together here this early on in Vegas?
I think there is, especially with a new head coach in Igor Kokoškov, and then a new coaching staff. Just building that bond, building that continuity and familiarity, I think is huge for us. The guys have played very well here overall. They played hard, especially on the defensive end of the floor. So we're going to try to keep that going. We're 3-0 so far. We're being tested a little bit here by Philly, but we'd like to win as much as we can and have our players gain more confidence and comfort with our coaches and vice versa.
One guy that's not playing today but finished up very strong for you is Josh Jackson. Where is he in his development, and what are you expecting in year 2?
Yeah, I thought he got off to a slow start last year as a rookie, Fran. You guys know his physical gifts. At 6'8", he's very athletic, he's very shifty, and I think his whole life he's been able to get to the basket and get to the free throw line almost whenever he's wanted to. From October through the end of December, he wasn't able to do that at the NBA level, so we sat Josh down for a game. We watched some film with him, and he really bought into doing the little things that I think that it takes at an NBA level to be effective. And from January 1 through the end of the year, I think he was second among rookies in scoring, trailing only Donovan Mitchell, who had a phenomenal year in Utah. So the game slowed down for him. I think the next step in his progression, his evolution, will be the shooting, obviously, offensively, and then continuing to, not get sped up. Again, he's so gifted that he can get to the paint almost whenever he wants, but I think the next step will be picking and choosing when to get there and when not to get there.
Well, you just talked about trying to get the ball to DeAndre Ayton and a turnover on that entry pass. Shaquille Harrison bringing it up. Who are the guys that'll be in the mix for the point guard? Elie Okobo, he brought him from France as well, and Shaquille Harrison, who played in the G League for you and has a chance for 3 right now.
Yeah, starting with Brandon Knight,
Yep.
Shaquille Harrison and Elie Okobo, who played pretty well here. Shaq's defense in particular has been very impressive for us. I mean, I think he had 5 steals the other night. I think our coaches who do their own charting, as Fran knows, I think they had him with 7 steals and 15 deflections, which in a summer league game is pretty impressive. And we're proud of Shaq and his development. He was a 4-year player at Tulsa, and we had him in training camp a couple years ago. And honestly, he was very raw there. And he's been with our minor league program, the Northern Arizona Suns. He's done very well there and has just improved every year. And what you guys see out here on the summer league court is just who Shaq is. He's not playing this way because we're in Las Vegas, because the lights are on. He just brings it every day. He's the ultimate pro, and we're happy that he's having some success.
Have you seen everything you want to see from Okobo here in Vegas?
Yeah, but I think these games are as important for him as anybody, Mark, just given that, it's only his 4th NBA game at any level. And a lot of the American guys that played against each other in college or AU, a lot of this is new to Elie. And, I think especially at that position, the point guard position, learning a new offense, figuring out where the shooters are, the timing of things, where Igor wants the ball at certain spots. I think and hope that we'll keep winning, and that gives him more experience and more reps as we head into training camp.
All NBA teams now are so adept at locating players around the world, and Elie was certainly on the radar. When did it start to click for you guys? Because 31 is almost a first-round pick.
Yeah, that's how we viewed him, Fran. We had him as actually a mid-first-round grade. And as you know, he really blew up late in the year last year. He improved, I think, as much as any player in the draft over the 6 months or so prior to June. And we tracked him through 2018, and then I think where he really grew on us was the 44-point game he had in the French League playoffs against Aaron Kraft, who, as you guys know, is a phenomenal defender. And he got so much better from the beginning of the season to the end. We took a close look at him. He had a great pre-draft workout in Phoenix as well. And then after we drafted a center at number 1 with Ayton and a 2-way wing at number 10 with Bridges, we thought it'd be perfect to get a young point guard to develop along with those guys.
Korkmaz hitting a 3 for the first time in a while for Philadelphia at 40 points here in his first game. We'll watch Ayton now against Jonah. Lefty Harrison, late shot clock missing, and a loose ball foul is going to go against Ayton with 3:29 to go.
That was a good example right there. Watching DeAndre, as Ryan pointed out, he's got a really good feel. That double came, and it wasn't exactly the best pass, but he knows where the ball needs to go.
I think the unselfishness and the recognition stand out, Fran. A lot of guys, would put the ball on the floor, put their head down, regardless of how they're being played. I think and hope that when Devin Booker's out there in that spot, that's a different looking read for whether to double or whether not to.
Isaiah Miles hitting a 3. That'll bring us to a timeout. Thanks for giving us so much time. We appreciate it, Ryan.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Ryan.
We all work with Sean. Might be our new favorite McDonough. I don't know.
He always has been.
Timeout here in Vegas. 3:17 to go first half in Las Vegas. Phoenix Suns lead is down and been down after an 11-2 Sixer run, and Mikal Bridges of Phoenix feeding DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah, he's done a good job today. No Josh Jackson, so he's getting a lot of minutes, and Mikal doing what he does. Knocks down shots. He plays the all-around game. And by the way, he gives you this athleticism at almost 6'8". You think about Mikal Bridges. How about this? How many times, if you can remember in recent years, or if ever, a player redshirted at a school, not because of an injury, I'm talking about his freshman year, but because the staff didn't think he was ready to play, and 3 years later, he's a lottery pick.
Yeah, it's hard to find one, and I'm thinking DiVincenzo redshirted as well, but he didn't stay as long, obviously. He had the great NCAA tournament and came out and also was a lottery pick, but it says a lot to that program as well, and the guys who come into it.
And this trade is going to go down. It's going to be interesting because this kid grew up a Sixer fan. His mom works for the Philadelphia 76ers. Watch when he hits this 3 right here. I could have been you guys, but you traded me, so I traded my hat for a Suns hat.
Bill Bridges, who was number 10 overall, acquired on draft night.
Well, and I want to get into this with you. The reason I asked Ryan McDonough whether it was a good trade for both teams, and I think he probably pretty much said it was, is because remember that the Sixers still are in the Kawhi Leonard race. They acquired not only a guy they like, they called him 1A, right? 1B, excuse me. This was 1A right here. This is the guy they wanted. 1B was Zaire Smith. And they get a draft pick, which they could use to draft somebody in 2021 or package it. And in the meantime, what did the Suns get? They got another lottery pick. And George was in Philly draft night, so I know he has something to add.
George, let's bring you in as well, yeah, because that draft pick, that was actually the Goran Dragic draft pick in that trade between Miami and Phoenix as well. So they picked up some pieces indeed in that swap.
Yeah, they did, certainly, and that completed that Goran Dragic trade for Miami and Phoenix. But it's an interesting pick because of this. 2021 is the year we're expected to have both high schoolers and college players available for the first time. The Bridges pick, though, to me was fascinating. With Philly, I thought it was going to work too. I mean, he'll work fine in Phoenix because he's just so ready-made. And I know Jay Wright hates to hear this term, 3-and-D player, but he is absolutely the prototypical 3-and-D player. We've seen some of the defense. We've seen him hit the threes here. He is ready-made after being in college for a couple of years.
Yeah, that's a great point, George. Here's one thing to keep in mind. We're going to finish this deal when we come back, but watch Furkan Korkmaz. I love saying that. Remember our time in Turkey at the World Championships of 2010? Furkan Korkmaz was just a young kid, and now, Kesty, he's playing in the NBA.
Boxing legend Manny Pacquiao is back. The sport's history-making 8th Division World Champion returns to the ring, and it's only on ESPN+. Power-punching belt holder Lucas Matisse is the target. As Pac-Man goes for his 60th career win, it's Manny Pacquiao's return, live from Malaysia on ESPN+, part of your ESPN app, Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Pacquiao going after Matisse's belt, and, well, we got a basketball tie-in because the Pac-Man loves to play some hoop.
I mentioned earlier, they love basketball in the Philippines, and when you got the money he has, why don't you just buy your own team?
So he did, and he plays for them. There's a look at Manny Pacquiao playing in the Philippines.
See that flying elbow?
Yeah.
That left that?
I know it all too well.
Yeah.
I got the same one.
If he pays me, I'll come out and correct that.
And you'll go all the way over there, right? Offensive foul will short-circuit that Philadelphia run out of the timeout as the Suns and Jonah Bolden and the 76ers playing for a spot in round 2 on Saturday. They will get the winner of the Spurs-Bucks game, which is coming up shortly over at Cox Pavilion. And Dragan Bender, as we spoke with Ryan McDonough about, he had 3 3-pointers in their third game Monday against Orlando in the prelims.
This is about the best I've watched him play. And that's a great sign. We talked about, Ryan McDonough talked about how young this guy is.
There he is with the rebound, was the number 4 pick. He was 18 on draft night. He was a pro at 15. He's not even 21 years of age yet. Played in Croatia in Split.
And
another great summer city.
Yes.
To go visit.
And like Jonah Bolden, he played at Maccabi Tel Aviv too.
Foul as Korkmaz attempted that 3-pointer from the right wing. Furkan Korkmaz had 40 points on 8 of 12 3-point shooting Friday, and then went 0 for 12 over the next 2 games, but has hit his only 3-pointer here today with 5 points as he heads to the free throw line. 52 seconds to go in the first half with the Suns leading. First one misses for Korkmaz, and the Summer League tournament continues tonight in Las Vegas on ESPN2 and the ESPN app. Right here on this Thomas and Mack Center floor, we'll have the Clippers and Lakers. A second round matchup at 8:30 Eastern. Also a second rounder between Atlanta and Portland as Korkmaz misses 2 of the first 3.
That's a 17 versus 1 matchup in the Clippers and the Lakers, so you never know.
Clippers had the upset.
Clippers with a good young backcourt. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Jerome Robinson, Sindarius Thornwell, the second-year guy.
Lakers have played well. Svi Mikhailuk, who you saw, it feels like for the last 10 years between Ukraine and Kansas.
Forever. Svi played against the United States national team, all the NBA guys, when he was 17 years old for the Ukraine. Played for Mike Fratello.
That's right. As DeAndre Ayton flushes there. I mean, he's going to bring some much-needed shooting, but he also brings more than that, too, from what he's shown here in Las Vegas.
Well, he's a big guy, and I'll tell you, we all know it. I know that Rob Pelinka said they want to put defensive-minded guys around LeBron, but when you got Josh Hart and now Svi making shots, that's going to help LeBron as well.
Final shot of the first half will go to the Suns. Earlier, Hollis Jefferson, tip no. And that'll be the end of the first half. Phoenix had runs of 13-0 and 12-0 in this first half. DeAndre Ayton limited to 4 points and 3 rebounds in the first half, but the Phoenix Suns still have the lead as they look to go to 4-0 in this tournament and try to get into round 2. 42-35, Suns the lead over the Sixers. Halftime there in Vegas. Welcome back to the MGM Resorts NBA Summer League 2018. Look at the bracket that the Sixers and Suns are in. The winner will face either San Antonio or Milwaukee. At the bottom of the bracket, Memphis with a lead over Oklahoma City over at Cox Pavilion over on NBA TV. All 30 teams for the first time here for the 12 days of this Summer League. And so all 30 teams are seated here in tournament style. And right now the Suns have the lead 42-35 at halftime. Mark Kestisher, Fran Fraschilla, George Sedano with you from Las Vegas. Our stars, DeAndre Ayton and Zhaire Smith, haven't quite delivered here in the first half, but Mikal Bridges, nice start for the Phoenix Suns.
And he's supposed to be another star here, which he has played like one in the first half. Mikal Bridges getting it done from behind the arc. We saw that a lot at Villanova. And then we also saw some of his electric athleticism in Davon Reed, the former Miami Hurricane, who is carving out a nice career in the NBA, trying to stick with the Phoenix Suns. 15 points between them. By the way, 17 field goals for the Phoenix Suns, 13 assists, and that speaks to the kind of open, everyone touches the ball offense that Igor Kokoshkov is trying to implement here. We saw it when he coached Slovenia, and we certainly saw it with Quinn Snyder's teams in Utah.
Last 3 years as Quinn Snyder's top assistant in Salt Lake City. They'll also obviously have to address the defensive end of the game, ranked dead last in defensive efficiency in Phoenix last year. And here's Bender with a 3 to open up the second half for the Suns.
That's so big. We talked about the, I do remember on draft night saying about Bender, and I used this line a couple times this week, he's a 7'1" piece of NBA silly putty. And now Igor Kokoshkov and his staff have a chance to develop this guy. He's a player's coach. He's from the same region of the world. Igor's Serbian, this young man Croatian, so I would not be surprised if Dragan Bender benefits from the hands-on touch of the head coach.
Probably going to be watching some soccer as well on Saturday, I'm guessing. Croatia and France for the World Cup. Zhaire Smith, didn't see much from him in the first half. Comes up short on that spinning fadeaway.
Well, Zhaire, the trade was made with the idea that Zhaire Smith is a future contributor for the Sixers. Played high school center 2 years ago.
Davon Reed has been big for Phoenix this afternoon. 4 of 5 from the field, now in double figures with 10 points.
Remember, he had knee surgery last August, so his season was really slowed because of that.
Stunted his growth, right? 4-year guy, was out the first 4 months of last season, only played 21 games with Phoenix.
Here you see Davon Reed with the finish.
Look at Zhaire Smith with the ball on the wing. Got the foul call, and we'll get to the line. You mentioned the progression he has made from high school when he was a center to college, playing in more of a small forward, right? So playing with the ball in his hands, it's a whole new experience for him, and especially moving up to the NBA level.
It is. He played for a great coach at Texas Tech, and Chris Beard. Now, that team went to the Elite Eight. You know when I knew he was pretty good? I saw Seton Hall play Texas Tech in the Garden in late November. Texas Tech had 5 senior starters back. I look out there, they're starting 2 freshmen, Zaire Smith and Jared Culver. And I said to myself, I remember this kid from Dallas, but he's starting? And this kid improved as much as really anybody in the Big 12 or in the country from the start of his freshman season to the end. But he is a work in progress. Jared Culver, his teammate, freshman, actually has a chance to be even a better NBA player a year from now.
He had all the recruiting scouts fooled too. Wasn't even in the ESPN 100 heading into his freshman year at Texas Tech. But he can play defense on this level. That's what we've seen here in Las Vegas as Korkmaz misses on the three-point attempt. He will deliver that as a rookie in the NBA.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt because he's got elite athleticism. And he does have a 1-2. I mentioned he was well coached defensively. Really a good kid. He's a really good young man. And, you know, I wish there was a rule. We always talk about how to make the NBA and college better. I wish it was like hockey, that the Sixers could have drafted him and then let him stay at Texas Tech. Because he was
like
really
more like a baseball. Well, even the baseball guys, hockey you have that right where you still have your rights on.
Yeah, you know, but he's going to play in the G League in Delaware some. He surprised us last year in college, so maybe he'll surprise us and be a key guy. But I mean, his future is definitely bright.
I mean, we're still not official on one and done going away, but being here in Las Vegas, seen Adam Silver around the city, Michelle Roberts as well from the Players Union. When you look forward, and if one and done is struck down, good for the NBA, good for college basketball.
I think it's good. You know, I wish it was the old days when David Robinson and Danny Manning and Grant Hill stayed in college a long time, but guys like DeAndre Ayton, they're probably better off getting to the NBA and starting to learn. The difference now, the NBA now has a viable minor league, and Isaiah Miles has been knocking down threes that former St. Joe's stars, carving out a nice career overseas.
We haven't been able to give him too much love. We had on Ben Simmons, we had on Ryan McDonough. Played it, as you said, at St. Joe's, was on the Philly Summer League team last year, and has been overseas in Turkey, and he's got his eye maybe on impressing some folks here.
Phil Martelli calls him his greatest success story at St. Joe's. A kid from Baltimore, played on some really good St. Joe's teams with DeAndre Bembry. But now that we have a viable G League, now if you make a mistake, if you're a high school kid and you come out and you get drafted and you don't go to college, at least you can apply your trade in the G League.
Wide open, Korkmaz knocks down a three-pointer for the 76ers. 4-point game here in Las Vegas. You know, we were talking late in the first half with George Sedano about that 2021 draft pick as Korkmaz gets the steal. Korkmaz in the open floor, can't finish. He felt Davon Reed right behind him.
He did not stick the landing.
George King's three-pointer circles out, but DeAndre Ayton there for the finish. For folks maybe aren't on top of it, if the one and done is struck down and if that first NBA draft with high school players is 2021, you're talking about the high school players don't have to go to college for the first time, and the guys who did play the year before as a freshman, so almost a double entry of draft lottery type selections coming in at the same time.
And that's why the trade is important for the Sixers, because they get Miami's pick from the Suns in the Smith-Bridges trade. Now, Ryan McDonough is probably calculating that Miami is not going to be bad if they can clean up that cap space. There's always the possibility that guys still want to go to Miami and play, and now that draft pick's not quite as high. So there's a lot of machinations going on.
Saw that with the Cavaliers last year when they made the Kyrie Irving trade. Got Boston's pick via Brooklyn. Brooklyn performed just a little bit better as Demetrius Jackson scores and gets fouled.
The Fighting Irish are in the house. Demetrius Jackson from South Bend, Indiana, Marion High School, and Notre Dame.
this is on the clock with Zaire Smith. I'm really not looking for one specific person, but everybody really. Probably watching the All-Star game, thinking back in 07. No, I don't listen to this new school. I like old school. I like Tupac and Biggie. I was about to say a girl, but I got a girl and she was gonna get mad. Probably his first game, just first taste of the NBA, and it was a good moment. I remember that for life.
On the clock with the 76ers, Zaire Smith. Really nice work with his girlfriend there to get off the hook.
He's a great young man. His dad played with Mookie Blaylock in junior college. He played for Ron Kruger at Kansas State, and he actually played football for Bill Snyder in his 5th year. Billy Ray, I know Billy Ray's proud of his son.
Bill Snyder still going strong at K-State. Still coaching football in Manhattan. Zaire Smith acquired on draft night by the 76ers, who have not won a game here at the Summer League. 0-3. They are the last of the seeds at number 30, and they have fought back to tie the Phoenix Suns at 3-0. Battling for a spot in second-round action Saturday, but there's Javonte Green on the baseline drive.
And a great play by Shaq Harrison. He kept that ball on a string until he could find Green cutting.
Golden from outside comes up short on his three-point attempt. He has struggled on his three-point shooting.
Watch Shaq Harrison now. He's going to hold on to this ball. He's going to survey, and like Gretzky behind the net. Watch him. He's not lost. He's not in trouble. Now he drops it off, and that's great decision making. You know, I told Alvaro Martinez yesterday, my favorite part about the NBA Summer League are guys like Shaq Harrison. You know, this kid was unheralded out of Tulsa. Frank Haith did a good job with him. He's from Kansas City, and not a lot of people know about this kid. You know, because of the NBA, and this guy is going to make himself a solid NBA career, even if he never starts a game, Mark. That's the beauty of this league.
Oh, well, you talked about it. Although it's a game, a league of role players, and if you're good enough to play in the NBA for 10 or 12 years, you can make a nice living. And
yep. League has 30 stars, about 450 role players.
So, like Gretzky, can we call that his office underneath the basket? McCullough runs into Jack Cooley that time.
Another member of the former member of the Fighting Irish.
Got a bunch of guys we can get a football team going with Phoenix, right? Shaq Harrison had a football scholarship that he turned down at Kansas. Cooley, as he's been in professional basketball, I wouldn't want to try to get through that guy's way as McCullough not able to finish on the other end. Four minutes to go here in the third. Suns not playing Josh Jackson today, and
nice.
Elie Kobo also not getting any run today. And a look at Alec Peters missing from the corner. Nice job by Korkmaz.
Let me tell you, that was another great drive by Shaq Harrison. And you can see the flow of that offense. A lot of people touch it, and they space the floor, drive it. I mentioned this during the early part of the week. 50 years ago, guys like Dr. Jack Ramsey, Chuck Daly, Hubie Brown, they went to Europe. They taught the game. They taught it to some people who love the game. And now you see guys like Igor Kokoshkov and all the great European coaches teaching the game back to us. It's a wonderful sport because the game has gotten smaller and smaller globally, Mark.
You know, it's fascinating when you look at the history of modern basketball now and those seeds that were sown by those great coaches who went overseas, and then the twist that the Europeans and the South Americans, and now we're seeing from Asia and Africa also, when Dirk Nowitzki comes over and all of a sudden you're 7 feet tall and you could be a face-up four, and Brett Brown went overseas to Australia and brought it there as well. Brett Brown watching his summer 76ers. And a reminder, the Summer League Tournament continues tonight in Las Vegas on NBA TV and the ESPN app. Spurs and Bucks coming up at 8 Eastern time, followed by Utah and Orlando. And speaking of San Antonio and Milwaukee, winner of that game will get the winner of our game here between these two teams tonight in second round action on Saturday. Green missed a couple of free throws, but got the rebound, and now gets an offensive rebound. And he'll get himself right back to the free throw line. Devontae Green out of Radford. Played in Italy last year. Has spent 3 years overseas since going undrafted.
Isn't that great? And he's here in a summer league. Just if he doesn't make the roster, there's somebody out here watching from a team in Europe that will pay him more money. You and I made that fabulous trip over to Istanbul in 2010, thanks to ESPN, where we covered the World Championships, right? Now it's the FIBA World Cup. And here's my analogy. Basketball is a masterpiece. It's the Mona Lisa. American coaches look at it from straight on, and they see a masterpiece. The international coaches might stand off to the side and get another angle, and it's still a masterpiece, but they have a different view of the masterpiece. And that's the beauty of why this game is so good. These ideas get cycled, these coaching ideas get cycled back and forth around the world.
And we even see it here domestically, from the professional ranks to the college ranks. See offensive foul called, going to stick with Philadelphia. Aaron Miles has been in the middle of a lot of good things this afternoon for the 76ers. Brings us to a timeout. We'll have some more conversation on international basketball and what it's brought here to the NBA next. Phoenix Suns a 3-point lead over the 76ers. 2:56 left in the third quarter. DeAndre Ayton, the #1 overall pick in the draft. Only 6 points tonight after what he's done during the preliminary rounds.
Yeah, quiet game today. Remember early in the game, Jonah Bolden pushed him around a little bit. And Jonah's got some experience overseas, and he's a work in progress.
There's Mom. Andrea is Mom. Of course, they are from the Bahamas, moved to the Phoenix area when he was in high school, and what a dream. Goes to Arizona, just a few hours away in Tucson, and now comes back as a professional to Phoenix. All of his field goals today are dunks for DeAndre Ayton. And an offensive foul against Jack Cooley will wipe out that attempt from Mikal Bridges.
Mikal not happy about that.
No, he did have a little stare.
Because I'll tell you what, he stroked it, and he was like, damn, man, look at him. He's mad. He just lost 3 points.
Yeah, just gave a nice little handshake. The last time the 76ers led was 10-7.
Ooh. Tell you what, Ski Booker got to the paint.
They're taking the lead here, 56-55, the 30th seed in the 30-team tournament. Looking for their first win in Las Vegas and a chance to move on. And Cooley converts at the rim. And who's going to be the second guy, Mikal Bridges, to say, nice job.
Big Jack using that body in low. He said, I played overseas a little bit. I could take this Lithuanian guy.
Jack Cooley was on a two-way contract with the Sacramento Kings last year. Got into 7 games, mostly played in Reno, Nevada in the G League. Reno Bighorns, 3-point play.
Watching him and knowing he played at Notre Dame, I had a flashback to Tim Kempton. Remember Tim Kempton?
Yeah.
Played a long time with the Phoenix Suns.
Yep. And at the old Memorial Coliseum.
Yeah, Tim's son had a really good career at Lehigh.
Korkmaz with the floater. Phillies tied the game.
Remember those riots that we encountered when we were in Istanbul?
Oh my goodness. We were in Istanbul in the 2010 World Championships, now rebranded the World Cup. And it was September 11th.
Yeah, we were a little worried about that, and we were in Taksim Square.
Cooley with the flush. Phoenix back in front. And what were you trying to find? We were trying to find a store. You wanted to buy something.
Like a Turkish national basketball team, T-shirts, sweatshirts to bring home to my boys at the time.
And you've been to Istanbul many times. It was my first trip. And you just said, you know what? Maybe we should go back to the hotel. I put on the news. There was like an all-out riot as Skia Booker knocks down a 3 to put Philadelphia in front. And the next day I said, friend, nice job getting us out of there. Just in time. Remember who was on that U.S. team that won the gold medal?
Kevin Durant.
Russell Westbrook.
Kevin Love.
Derrick Rose.
Yep. Tyson Chandler, maybe? Or
I think he was. Andre Iguodala.
Oh, you know, yep. Oh, Rudy Gay.
Rudy Gay. That was a heck of a team.
Yep.
Bridges missing there, rebounded by Booker. And that's the kind of the capper of the international discussion we had. First Booker for 3 misses. Is that they forced the United States to change the way they ran the national program. And now
it's amazing.
It's going to be gold for a long time now.
At the youth level also.
Bridges fouled by Korkmaz. That's a little international play that we see as well. Take that foul when you don't want to give up 2 points in transition.
And now you see NBA and college guys doing it, without intentionally fouling. It's a good play, and it's one of those little things that we talked about, how the global basketball game has shrunk, right?
And I like the experimental rule with the 14-second reset, which is a FIBA thing that we've seen for a while.
I think it's great, and someone says it takes coaching out of the game. I said, no, it doesn't. It's a situation you practice and you work on in practice. Offensive rebound, the clock gets set to 14 instead of 24.
Suns trail by a point, have the last shot if they want it here in the third quarter. Harrison on the drive. Zaire Smith went for the block and got the foul, and Harrison under the basket in a little bit of discomfort. He'll be helped up and head to the line.
Yeah, he exploded by Smith. You see right there, Zaire, who can get up, tried to make a defensive play, but looks like Shaq's going to be okay.
Yeah,
shaking it off.
Extended that left leg just a little bit, awkward coming down. Shaquille Harrison out of Tulsa, and all the work he has put in the G League the last couple of years. Got a couple of starts last year with the big team.
Yep.
And he knows how close he is.
Yes, he's on a non-guaranteed deal. And what he's doing right now is he's making this decision easy for Coach Kokoshkov. I don't know if Okubo is ready to be a backup point guard in the NBA. That's something that Ryan McDonough and the coaching staff are going to have to figure out. But this kid right here, he looks like he could handle that spot. He's going to be in the NBA this year somewhere, and it's likely to be in Phoenix.
Tied game. They had a foul to give. Suns only had 3 team fouls in the quarter. 10 team fouls per quarter in Summer League. The only change we have in the tournament play is personal fouls. You had 10, and now we're down to 6 in the tournament.
Who's fouled out with 10 fouls?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I had that trivia the other day.
I know one of them. Thon Maker.
Thon Maker, that's right. Jackson beats the buzzer with 0.7 of a second to go in the third. Green will hold on to it. And the Philadelphia 76ers winless in Las Vegas. 30 seed. 2-point lead going to the fourth. Coming up next, Clippers will take on Mo Wagner and the Lakers at 8:30 Eastern. Hawks and Blazers after that, all coming up on ESPN2. And Doc Rivers, the Clippers head coach, in the arena with our Mike Breen talking about it. Josh Hart, the Lakers' second-year man, with George moments ago.
George Sedano here with Josh Hart of the Lakers. Josh, you've been playing really well thus far. What does it mean for someone like you after the run you got during the season to be out here? And what kind of advantage do you possess in those situations?
It means a lot. Obviously, the second half of the season I played a little bit, better and kind of more how I expected myself to. And it's, kind of good carryover from that, but also a lot of momentum going into the season. Just things I improved.
Obviously, the big news is LeBron is part of your squad now. Have you had a chance to talk to him, or have you had a chance to engage with him in any way?
I haven't yet. I think I'm kind of so focused on this. We haven't talked yet, but I'm sure after this and when we go back to LA, we definitely have a conversation. And anxious and excited to be out on the court with him.
What does it mean, though, for you and these young guys to play with the best player on the planet? What does it mean to you?
Well, it's an amazing experience just to see how he conducts himself on the court, off the court, how to take care of his body, how he approaches every game, how he approaches every day in practice. Just to learn from, the best player in the world, it's amazing. You can't simulate that any other way. So, being able to see that is amazing.
Fran Fraschilla told me to ask you about all the Villanova guys that are out here. Have you had a chance to see some of your guys, and what do you make of it?
Yeah, I definitely saw some of them. I saw that JB had a great game yesterday, and him and Ryan went back to squared off, and it's been good to see all those guys. We had Daniel, Mari, Mikel. I think Dante might have had his first game today. I wasn't able to see, but just to see some of those guys and see the way they've grown as men and as basketball players has been amazing. And I wish those guys the best. always brothers.
Josh, thank you so much. Good luck. All right, guys, back to you.
All right, George, thanks a lot. Josh Hart and the Lakers will take on the Clippers. Igor Kokoshkov getting a technical foul here in Summer League play.
Showing a little passion.
Yep.
It's always good when you see the head coach of a team, new head coach of a team, coach the Summer League team. It gives them a chance to really, get down and dirty, sweat with the guys.
Bender missing from straight on. The Philadelphia 76ers with their largest lead of the game, a 4-point lead, bidding for the 330 upset. That'd be 30 seed upset.
I just tweeted out, call your friends. Upset alert in Vegas.
Askia Booker missing, comes out to Miles. He's played a great game. He and Korkmaz have 31 combined points here for Philadelphia today.
And the common denominator is one is Turkish, the other is played in Turkey.
I feel like having lunch.
Shish
Give me
kebab?
a sandwich.
How about a little shish kebab?
You did take me out to some good meals. I owe you. Here's a look at the bracket. The Philadelphia Phoenix winner will face either San Antonio or Milwaukee. Currently on NBA TV at the bottom of your bracket, the 27 seed Memphis has a 5-point lead with 12 seconds left against Oklahoma City. So you could see a 27 and a 30 going down minutes apart.
Stunning.
Here in Las
Stunning
Vegas.
news.
Booker, the 3-point shooting of Philadelphia, part of the reason they have taken the lead. Now 5 for 11 in the second half. And meanwhile, Phoenix has only hit one of their 7 3-point attempts here in the second half. They've done a great job with 8, and they just turned them over twice in a row. Jackson was looking behind, but will finish himself.
Yeah, the little Jackson, who's about 6'1", he just ripped the ball out of Ayton's hands. He just did it again.
Philadelphia just making the plays here in this fourth quarter. Jackson went no look for McCullough, intercepted by Bridges. And now fouled by Isaiah Miles against Shaq Harrison.
Yeah, Demetrius overpassed that time. He had a clear lane to the basket, but after scoring on that dunk, I think he kind of wanted to play good teammate.
See, the Suns have their starting 5 on the floor right now. Miles has been so good. Jackson, the only starter on the floor right now. Cameron Oliver's a guy also is hoping to turn some heads here in Summer League for Philadelphia.
Yep, he spent a lot of time in Delaware.
Ayton couldn't finish there to try to switch hands. Cameron Oliver wearing -0. Askia Booker's wearing -0. Oliver, the power move, gets to the line, fouled by Bridges.
Cam Oliver played for Eric Musselman in Reno for the Nevada Wolfpack, and Eric Musselman's team makes it to the NCAA tournament, knocks off Cincinnati in what looked to be a stunner, and has everybody. He's got about 18 different guys. Like, he's got transfers everywhere. You know, there's more. I mean, they might as well be like Grand Central Station. There's so many transfers back and forth, but he's done a great job of navigating, much the way Freddie Hoiberg did at Iowa State, and now Freddie coaching the young Chicago Bulls. But this kid played for Eric Musselman, so you know he's going to compete. You know he's going to be well coached.
Cam Oliver turned 22 on Wednesday here at Summer League.
He left early. I thought he left too early, but
left after last season. Season before.
Yeah, this is his second year.
Blocked by Jackson, whose hands have been all over this fourth quarter comeback by Philadelphia.
And Demetrius, once property of the Boston Celtics, he spent a lot of time playing for the Maine Red Claws.
He's small in stature at 6'1", but he's a physical guard for his size. Kind of seems like a more physical player than at 6'1". 8 seconds to shoot. Suns are down 8. Their biggest deficit of the game. Davon Reed.
Yeah, see, that's Shaq Harrison's fault, because once that ball came back to him from Bender, he's the only guy out there that can really make a play off the dribble, and he's got to have that shot clock in his head. You get under 5, you got to have a feel for what you're going to do. Drive it, run into a ball screen, throw it into the post, but you can't just treat that ball like it's a live hand grenade.
Sixers have scored the last 8 points since the game was tied at 61. Korkmaz, no. Oliver couldn't follow. Out of bounds to Phoenix. Jack Harrison, good to see him moving pretty well. Landed awkwardly on the left leg earlier this half. Bender from deep. Knocks it down.
That's impressive. There's a guy, when you talk about the game slowing down, that's how he's played today. He plays within his own rhythm, and that time the shot was pure. And how about this guy? Zhaire Smith, who only took about 43s last year as a freshman. Watch the effortlessness of this stroke. Dragan Bender is a stretch 5. Beautiful. And then Zhaire Smith, who a lot of people didn't realize had this in his game. And there's that John Starks stroke I told you about.
It's his first three-pointer of this afternoon in this first-round matchup. Davon Reed behind the screen of 8, had it blocked by Zhaire Smith. He was leaking out. They tried to get him the pass. Reed, will they count it? No, they called the foul. 2 shots coming with 6:12 to go.
That's 2 terrific defensive plays by Zhaire Smith. And he wanted that leak out for the dunk, I can tell you.
Just not enough mustard on the pass to get it there. It turned into a turnover.
I say this during the college season. It's so important if you played for a coach in college that coached you hard. You know, Tom Izzo, Bill Self. And a lot of people don't know about Chris Beard, the relatively going into his 3rd year at Texas Tech. He was an assistant to Bob Knight, but Chris Beard coaches his kids hard with the arm around their shoulder. And this kid is a little more prepared for the NBA because Chris Beard coached him hard last year.
Good job Chris Beard has done at Texas Tech. Great season in the Big 12 last year. And when the season started, nobody thought Zhaire Smith would be a star on that team, let alone a lottery pick. And Cameron Oliver hits a triple for Philadelphia. And how about the Sixers have turned this into a 10-point game?
It's a 30 seed trying to upset a 3 seed. That doesn't happen very often in Las Vegas. Right now, Sixers are rolling the dice.
The WNBA is in full swing. Don't miss a minute of the action. Catch it live by getting your tickets today at WNBA.com/tickets. Boys and girls, men and women alike here in Vegas. You've been out on the concourse in between Thomas and Mack and Cox Pavilion. They got the Papa Shot set up. Cassidy Hubbard did a feature there last night.
It's Disneyland. It's Disneyland. It's basketball Disneyland out here.
Kids having a good time.
Yep.
Parents as well. And the Philadelphia 76ers, who lost 3 times during the preliminary round. Everybody is seeded from 1 to 30. Philadelphia in the they lost every tiebreaker because they ended up as a 30 seed, but a 24-point turnaround in this game, trailing by as many as 14 points.
Let's see if the Suns run out of a timeout, because this is all about learning how to be coached on the fly if you're a young player.
Reed denied by Jonah Bolden.
Nice. Oh, not nice.
Korkmaz turned it over, but down court pass unable to be held by Davon Reed. It'll go to Philadelphia.
Jonah Bolden, the Aussie, who the Philadelphia 76ers anticipate will stay with them. He's not shot the ball from 3 today, but physically he is way more advanced than he was a year ago or 2 years ago. And he's done a good job handling DeAndre Ayton.
Bridges forcing Zhaire Smith onto the half-court line for the over and back. Good defense by Phoenix. 15th turnover for the Philadelphia 76ers. Phoenix, 19 turnovers, 24 Sixer points off those turnovers here this afternoon. All right, Phoenix down 10 with about 5 minutes to go. The winner moves into Saturday's second round slate of games. We have the first 2 second-round games to come right here on ESPN2 and at Thomas and Mack Center next. 8 to shoot. Davon Reed, and he'll get himself to the line. Reed has played well, number 32 pick last year by the Phoenix Suns. Out of Miami, we mentioned the time he missed with the knee injury, but looking very spry here in Summer League.
You think of Miami under Jim Larrañaga, right? Shane Larkin, Davon Reed. You got Bruce Brown trying to make a team, and of course Lonnie Walker Jr., who
he's looked spectacular here in the times I've seen him with San Antonio.
I was just going to say that. Watched him early in the week, and you know, he's one of those kids that doesn't even realize how good he is, and he defers early in games, but that kid has a chance to be an NBA star. Lonnie Walker Jr. out of Reading, Pennsylvania.
Won a state championship in Reading. Went to Miami, now gets to learn under the great Greg Popovich. On a missed 3 by Korkmaz.
Let's see what the Suns can do here, because all these guys are being evaluated by their head coach.
Got it to 8, get it to 6, and a chance to get it to 5.
Yeah, he's been impressive all day long, Shaq Harrison. They love his defense, and he's got that elite speed to the basket. To be able to do that in front of his new head coach, got to make him feel good.
Invaluable, Igor Kokoshkov, the Summer League coach and head coach coming in his first year with Phoenix. We had Ryan McDonough, the general manager, here as well. Watching his young team bottoming out last year. Had the #1 overall pick for the first time in franchise history, and in the last 21 seconds they've scored 5 points. So they've cut the lead in half to 5. And now a Suns foul. This will be side out to Philadelphia.
And Davon Reed is wondering what I'm wondering. Why is that a foul on him? Demetrius Jackson is just banging bodies with him.
Second team foul, the 4th quarter against Phoenix. Down to Jackson, who spearheaded that big run for Philly. Ball nearly ended up in his hands. Shaq Harrison fouled. I thought he might have got that pass off to Bridges before the contact.
Absolutely. And it was a smart play by Shaq. He knows he's about to get fouled. Watch him get rid of it right now.
Yeah, that was felt like a good half second to a second before Korkmaz hit him.
Now he did foul him, and these young officials are being evaluated also.
Inbound to Harrison, 20 to shoot, 4:18 to go. Tough floater, not there. Philly's lead is 5. Korkmaz was speeding up the offense, now pulls it out. Taking Bender off the bounce, somehow got it to go. Furkan Korkmaz.
Yeah, Dragan Bender did a great job defensively that entire possession, but Korkmaz with a little circus shot.
Good bounce back for Korkmaz, who has 16 points. 40 in the opener, had 5 in the next 2 games. Oh, what a move by Reed, who gets fouled from behind by Zaire Smith.
Now, Dragan Bender at 7'2", moves his feet really well right here. Watch him. Good job. Stays with him. That's not easy. And watch Korkmaz size him up. Little crossover. And he hits a tough shot. So Coach Kokoshkov is going to watch that and say to Dragan Bender, hey, that's a great job right there.
And on the other end for Furkan Korkmaz, who spent last year with the 76ers, dealt with a broken foot. He was deep in the bench, off the rotation. Played 14 games, got into a postseason game as well. And with some of the shooters who have exited Philadelphia, maybe a chance for him, because Ilyasova is back in Milwaukee. Bellinelli's back in San Antonio. Might be able to offer Philadelphia some shooting. Furkan Korkmaz, there was that brilliant first game, and then the numbers in the next 2. 0 for 12 from three-point land before hitting the 3 this afternoon.
I would say that's the ups and downs of Las Vegas.
Ball ends up to Reed. Couldn't finish the dunk, but got fouled. Chance to get 2 points closer with 3:38 to go. Josh Jackson resting this one today. Took an elbow to the side of the head. Second game of their preliminaries against Sacramento on Saturday.
every one of these guys on the court has grown up dreaming of playing in the NBA. And that's why it's so much fun to be here. Not everybody's going to make it.
Nope.
Some guys are going to have to go learn German or Spanish. Some will go to the G League. Some will make teams. But the level of competitiveness is fun to watch.
Oh, it is. And like you said, it's a dream of a lifetime to put on an NBA uniform. Summer league, training camp, preseason. You know, the goal is to make the team, but for some of these guys, it's in increments. Isaiah Miles setting a crushing screen on Davon Reed coming up court.
Let's watch Bender again.
6 to shoot. Giga can't convert.
Now, obviously, Davon Reed doesn't understand Croatian because Dragan Bender needs to call out that screen, but he's all the way at the top of the key in the front court.
Rattle your teeth a little bit,
I would say, but he's no worse for the wear. He's right back at it.
Trying to run screen and roll with Ayton. And
nice.
There it is.
Yep.
DeAndre's mom enjoying that one. 2-point game here in Las Vegas. Under 3 minutes to go. Korkmaz is going to spread the floor for Philadelphia. Norbertus Giga setting a semi-illegal screen. No call, but Korkmaz converts on the other end.
Heating up.
18 points for Furkan Korkmaz.
Furkan.
Competed with the Turkish qualifying team for the World Cup before coming here. Shaq Harrison getting by Demetrius Jackson that time.
He wanted a foul, too. I think he felt he was nudged in the air. And he's going to get right back down in his stance and defend Jackson.
There's Miles, who's been hot this afternoon. 3 more for Isaiah Miles.
Oh, I'm getting hungry for a Larry's cheesesteak right across the street from St. Joe's.
From St. Joe's to the Philadelphia 76ers Summer League team, and he is 6 of 7 from three-point range. Philadelphia, 5-point lead with 1:59 to go here at Thomas & Mack Center. Well, he's hoping for a training camp invite, and I think he's opened up some eyes here this afternoon. Teams playing to stay alive here now in the knockout round in Las Vegas. Harrison flips it up, no, but he gets 2 at the line. Winner of this game will face either San Antonio or Milwaukee. Every team is guaranteed 5 games, so everybody plays in the first round. That's your 4th game, and if you lose, there's a consolation round tomorrow going on. We will have a couple of second-round games get underway today, and both of them coming up here on ESPN2. Clippers and Lakers are next. Hawks and Blazers follow. Mark Jones, Doris Burke, Cassidy Hubbard will have you covered for the rest of the evening. I think I just saw Jonesy, and there's Mo Wagner signing some autographs, Lakers rookie.
Mo Wagner's look pretty good. As you see Doc Rivers and Sammy Cassell to his right.
All Los Angeles battle in Las Vegas. There's a few Los Angelinos who've made their way across the desert.
You know how close the Clippers. Oh, watch out!
Turnover. Harrison stuffs. Even the Lakers fans cheering that one.
Yep, Ski Jones slipped here. Take a look now. Watch, he's going to come get it. He slips. Shaq Harrison adding to an impressive resume today.
Got the Suns within 1.
Look at him. Look at him.
Great defense forced off of Jackson, and a pump of the fist twice by Shaquille Harrison.
You got the first-round picks, and you got guys like Shaq Harrison that are earning everything they get. Nothing comes easy.
14 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists for Shaq Harrison. Kevin Young, the Summer League coach. Oh, we've got a review light is on. That gets everyone excited here at the Thomas & Mack Center. Under 2 minutes to go in the ball game with a timeout. You can call for review to have them check who touched it last out of bounds. That might have went off the foot of Shaq Harrison at first look there.
Watch him sell it. He sells the call. But because of the review light, that might Did that hit a second?
Did it hit his leg on the way through?
Yeah.
Hit Jackson's leg. So they'll have a number of angles. And there should be someone back in Secaucus feeding the angles as well. The question is, do we have definitive review off the foot, and did it touch the inside of the leg of Jackson?
You see the green light by each coach's bench, right? You're allowed in the last 2 minutes. They're gonna, as you see the review here, you can slam that. What is it, like playing a game show, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like whack-a-mole. What you don't have a hammer though. Look, for whack-a-mole.
There's the light. It's like Family Feud.
There you go.
That's it, Family Feud. So we know it hit Shaq. Does it hit Demetrius? That angle's tough.
I don't know if the ball's spin changed as it went through his legs. But the angles we have are not definitive off of Jackson's leg. This might be more definitive.
Ooh, that's close.
I think that might have deflected a little bit on that angle.
I think it did.
That was a good shot, everybody, in the truck. So under 2 minutes, the experimental rule. If you have a timeout, you can ask for a challenge. If you get the challenge right, you'd have another one.
That's right.
If you get it wrong, you lose the opportunity. But this is the experimental rule they're looking at so that coaches can force the officials into going to video review on a key play late in the game, a 1-point game with 96 seconds to go. And the ruling will be decided on court. So the three officials have gotten together, as you see. They've gotten all the video replay. And now one of the officials will come over to us. And we'll talk to Fran, as you see. What was the word?
Well, it's Phoenix ball. The call was correct according to the monitor review. So
they may not have had a clean enough angle to see if it hit Jackson's leg as it went through his legs.
And the official was, he just said, the ruling on the court
stands. There you go. Not definitive replay. And so the Philadelphia 76ers lose their ability to challenge the rest of the way.
Let's see what they got out of a timeout. There it is.
Harrison's been hot. Tried to play the angle. Ayton couldn't tip it. Remember, that also cost the Sixers a timeout, so they don't have any timeouts here with 1:15 to go. 82-81. Philly with the lead in possession. The red-hot Isaiah Miles. Can he do it again? No.
It's been Shaq Harrison's show down the stretch. Ball's been in his hands. And look how the court is spaced now. 4 out, 1 in.
Reed off the bounce. No, Ayton can't tip. They've done a very good job being all over Ayton on those offensive rebound opportunities.
Yeah, DeAndre Ayton's got to grab those rebounds with 2 hands. Gather and go back.
Sixers up 1. Shot clock under 10. Jackson looking for Miles. Jackson fouled, trying to get through traffic with 33.1 to go.
Let's go back and watch DeAndre Ayton. Now there's the drive by Reed, and he's just got to get 2 hands on this. See, he's trying to tip that ball, but in traffic like that, grab the ball, go up, and then dunk it.
Phoenix had 4 shots in an attempt to go ahead in this game, unable to get anything to go. Still down 1 with 33 1/10 left. Wiping up some perspiration right in front of the Philadelphia bench. Davon Reed getting to defend. Booker's inbound. Trying to get it to Jackson. Just beat the 5 count. Shaq Harrison defending Jackson back to half court. 4 to shoot. Booker's wide open in the corner. Hits a big one with 19.7 to go.
Great ball movement. They got a trap at midcourt. Take a look, and once that ball's out of the trap, watch Jackson now. Did he step on that line? Woo!
Might have got away with one there. Skia Booker was the last guy on the roster for Summer League. Just hits a huge triple. A reminder coming up next, Summer League tournament here from Las Vegas on ESPN2, the Clippers and the Lakers, and then it'll be Trae Young and the Hawks taking on the Blazers at 10:30 Eastern time. And we were about 10 minutes from now is this game coming toward its conclusion. Philadelphia 85 and the Suns 81 with 19 7/10 to go.
So even 4-point game here, Igor Kokoshkov is teaching and coaching. We talk about getting coached on the fly out of a timeout. Let's see what they draw up to get something quick here. Because they can score, get the 2, and then set up their press and foul.
Bender's your trigger man. Looking.
Gotta go.
Harrison finds the rolling Ayton, who gets fouled with 16 seconds to play.
Well executed, right? Get a shot quickly, save time. Now the big fella's got to go to the line and make his free throws.
First free throws of the evening for DeAndre Ayton,
who's, by the way, making 80%, I believe, coming in.
Top pick in the draft 3 weeks ago tonight. Across the country in Brooklyn, knocks down the first, make it a 1-possession game.
Suns out of timeouts, as are the Sixers. So right here, if you're Phoenix, if he makes this free throw, you got to get up and pressure D. You don't steal it, you foul, and you stretch this game out.
No timeouts, no fouls to give. 16 seconds to go. 2-point game. First, they got to get it in. And Demetrius Jackson is fouled by Shaq Harrison.
Good gamble. Now you play the free throw game. Jackson's got to go to the line and make his 2. If he misses one or both, you've only lost a half a second on that possession.
Demetrius Jackson 2 for 4 at the free throw line here in this knockout round game.
How many NBA games have you done where a team scored like 7 points in like 6 seconds? Or 5 points in 2 seconds?
At least. I can count them on. Yeah, I was going to say at least 5.
Yeah, a bunch. So these are the kind of situations that even with a young team and a young head coach, first-year head coach in the league, that you're just trying to train these guys. Remember that one year, Brad? Remember Brad Stevens' first year where he ran all those great late clock plays?
That's right. And it was all in advance for what was to come.
Exactly, and the confidence the kids develop in your coach. There you go.
Booker gets called for the foul in a 2-possession game, and Harrison scores, a chance to make it a 1-point game.
And again, they play fast. You got to have a comeback game offense, which they do, which is take Ayton out of the post and give this guy a chance to drive.
16 points, 8 boards, 6 assists. Shaquille Harrison, undrafted 2 years ago. Remember, there's no timeouts either way. Makes the free throw, 1-point game.
Press again and foul quickly if you don't steal it.
Inbound to Booker, fouled by Harrison.
Now, our friend UB Brown says it this way. The notoriety of the coach is directly proportional to his team's execution under pressure. Okay? And what we're watching right now is that the Phoenix Suns have a late game plan, and they're a missed free throw from getting right back into this game. And by the way, if Booker makes both, they still have a chance to tie it with a 3.
Booker's first free throws today, and the first one falls off, no good.
There it is.
And 7.8 is a lot of time on a possession.
And what's happening right now is these young Phoenix Suns players and Devin Booker, wherever he is, Trevor Ariza are watching their head coach saying, this guy knows what he's doing. He's got a plan.
Booker hits the second, 2-point game. Phoenix 2 to tie, a long one to win it. Harrison underneath, Mikal Bridges stripped, the game's over, and the Philadelphia 76ers, the 30th and last seed. Their first Summer League win is an upset into round 2.
Shaq Harrison had the ball, and he tried to make the right play, but the Sixers survive in advance.
Let's take a look at that last play, down 2.
I thought he should have gone to the basket, but there you see the cut. And that could have easily been a foul call because, ironically enough, Zaire Smith, the guy he was traded for, Mikal Bridges, reached in and poked it away.
We nearly had the first overtime game of the entire Summer League. Remember, 2-minute overtimes.
Hey, I got a box lunch I got to eat, okay? Don't be talking overtime.
Did you get a restroom break in the doubleheader? That's all I want to know.
I did.
A big win for the Philadelphia 76ers. Isaiah Miles, 20 points in this win. He's with George Sedano.
Thanks, Kesty. Isaiah, you guys were able to hold on. How did this thing unfold for you? How are you guys able to finish this one off?
It just showed how we come together as a team. You know, we came into this game 0-3, and we didn't hang our heads. We played really good defense and very solid offense. This is a really good Suns team. So, I mean, I'm proud of them guys. We just never hung our head. We stayed together throughout the whole tournament, and, you know, we're lucky to play again another day.
You went to St. Joe's, a City 6 kid. How cool is it for you to be able to play for this team?
Oh, man, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. All glory be to God, man. It's just the opportunity to play close to home. I'm a Baltimore guy. It's only an hour and a half away from home. Went to college in Philly for 4 years, so it's kind of like my second home. You know, just having that fan base and having that home base behind me and supporting me around this whole journey has just been a blessing, and I'm grateful for it.
I know you have a deal in place with the Turkish team, but there's an out for you for an NBA team. How important is it for you to make an impression here at this tournament?
That was a one-year contract. I'm out of that. Yeah, I'm not in the contract right now, so I'm a free agent. So hopefully I get more games like this so I can get that opportunity to live out my dream.
All right, awesome stuff. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care. Back to you guys.
All right, George, thanks a lot. And Isaiah Miles, I think he turned some heads, 6 of 8 from three-point land for 20
It's
points.
what I love about Summer League. You know, we talk about Ayton and Knox and Gilgeous-Alexander, but this guy, you hear what he said? He's a free agent. He not only can make a team in the NBA, but he might get even a better contract overseas. But right now, his goal is to keep the Sixer team advancing in the Summer League. And man, it's fun to see guys fighting for their dream. Isaiah Miles is doing that.
You know, I don't think he could have paid George Sedano to ask a better question because he got a chance to say that. I'm a free agent on television with anyone around the NBA, especially the Philadelphia 76ers, who could have heard it. We came on with Zaire Smith, obviously was the star attraction for Philadelphia, but Isaiah Miles had himself quite a game. Korkmaz as well, Booker also coming off the bench, really played well for Philadelphia.
Well, we talked about this with the Celtics in the first game. The Sixers are in a great spot. They don't need a lot of these guys to contribute much this year, but it's about accumulating assets, good young players, and we've seen that. Both of these franchises, the Celtics, and particularly now in the second game, the Sixers, they're in a good spot, and these kids are trying to make that Sixer roster, maybe playing a G League, and it's the best thing about Summer League.
Boston advanced, Philadelphia, the 30 seed advancing today. Let's take a look at the top draft picks in action today. Kevin Knox had his first struggles of the Summer League.
Yep, and DeAndre Ayton struggled a little bit today as well. Jaren Jackson went 0 for 7 early in the week, but these kids we watched on TV last year, they're all learning how to be NBA players.
Mo Bamba, the 6th pick, coming up at 10 Eastern time with the Orlando Magic. Trae Young was part of that Atlanta comeback, down 20-plus points yesterday. They'll be involved in second-round action coming up later on ESPN2. And coming up in just a little bit, just about 7 minutes from now here on ESPN2, the top seed in the tournament, the defending champs, the Los Angeles Lakers, a battle for Los Angeles, Summer League style in Las Vegas. The Clippers and the Lakers coming up. Sixers win it 88-86 in our game. For Fran Fraschilla, George Sedano, I'm Mark Kestisher. We will get you Mark Jones, Doris Burke, and Cassidy Hubbard as the Clippers and Lakers coming up in just a moment here on ESPN2.